Hi there! Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. And in today's video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this awesome card box that perfectly holds 10 note cards and envelopes. And our note cards are 3.5 inches by 5 inches. And this was one of the projects that I shared at our Demonstrators Only event here in the Atlanta area called On Stage, and I wanted to do a video tutorial to show you how to make this box. So I won't be showing you how to make the complete project. I will just show you how to make this box, and then you can use your creativity to come up with any design you like. This features the Sitting Pretty bundle, which is a new and upcoming stamp set and coordinating framelit in our new annual catalog that will go live on June 1st, 2018. It's also featuring a new color that's coming up called Merry Merlot, as well as Gray Granite. So just a couple of sneak peeks there, and let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is in the Dapper Denim color, which is soon to be retiring. And along the 8.5 inch side, we're going to score this at 5/8, 1 5/8, 6 7/8, and 7 7/8. And I'm going to rotate it to the 11 inch side, and we're going to score this at 2 5/8, 3 5/8, 7 3/8, and 8 3/8. And while we have it on the 11 inch side here, I want you to make a little tick mark at 6 3/4. I'm going to flip my paper and do another tick mark at 6 3/4. And then I want you to do a score line at 10 inches, but just down to that first horizontal score line. I'm going to flip the paper and do the same thing, 10 inches down to that first horizontal score line. And that tick mark and that little score line are going to help us do some diagonal cuts. And those are not 100% necessary, but they will help us get a 45-degree angle. First, I want you to fold and burnish on all the score lines. Now let me bring in a quick template. I will have a picture of this posted on my detailed blog post. But I want you to note I've got the top marked here and the bottom down here, and that's where we had that 10 inch score line and that 6 3/4 inch tick mark. Consider that the top of the box, even though both, the top section and the bottom section are the same size, but where we made those score lines and the tick marks, consider that the top of the box. Now what we're going to do is to do a little bit of cutting away, and what I like to start with is cutting in to these narrow score lines here to start to create those tabs. So we're going to do that cutting first. And again, I'm just going to cut up these vertical score lines, stopping at the second horizontal score line. And I'm going to do that along all 4 of these little skinny sections. Okay, now that we've done that, take a look at where we've got that little short score line and the little tick marks. And what I'm going to do is cut from the second score line in on the diagonal down to that short score line. So we're just going to cut from here to that short score line. And that short score line is just helping us get this cut at a 45-degree angle. Then what I want you to do is just go ahead and cut away this section here. So we're going to remove that piece from that section. We're also going to remove that piece from this little small section here. Okay, and then we're going to do one more 45-degree angle cut from this first score line in to that little tick mark that we made. And if it's easier, just flip your paper here. But so tick mark to that score line. And again, that's just helping us get that little 45-degree line. Now we're going to keep this section here, but we're going to cut it away at the bottom 2 sections. So I'm just going to go from here and cut, again, this outside section. And same thing from this little short section here. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do, and we'll be done with this side, is to notch in these little tabs. I'm just going to cut them at a slight angle. That's just going to help the box go together much nicer. Okay, now this left side is complete, so let me show you what we did. Did this diagonal cut, remove these 3 outer sections here, then this section, we notched in that tab, cut this at an angle, kept this piece, and then removed this skinny section here from these 2 bottom sections, and then notched in those tabs. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, now all of our cutting is complete, and now I'm going to step in and add some tear and tape so we can start to put this box together. And the first thing I'm going to do, we are on the inside of the box, so our score lines are folding in. I'm going to put 2 strips of tear and tape along this outer section. We're going to do close to the score line and then right up to the edge. And this is the bottom section of the box, and you know that because there's no diagonal cuts in this section. Okay, now I'm going to flip the paper over. I'm going to make sure to put tear and tape on all of these little tabs. Again, 2 little strips, one at the score line and one at the edge on all 4 tabs. Okay, then the last place we want to put tear and tape is along this outer section of the middle section, but we want to make sure that the tear and tape doesn't go all the way up to the edge. And let me just show you. This is how it's going to go together. You'll see that there's part of this middle section sticking out. So we only want the tear and tape to be as long as this section. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that. Let's flip it here. Use that to kind of eyeball how much tear and tape, or the length of tear and tape that I want. Again, just eyeballing it with this lower section. And then what I'm going to do is just place that right towards the edge of the cardstock. And you'll see it only is going to go up part way. So we'll do that to both sides. So kind of away from the diagonal. So that is where we have the tear and tape. This is the outside of the box. So on all 4 tabs, just these 2 skinny sections here, and then on the inside of the box, 2 strips down here at the bottom. Now before we start putting the box together with the tear and tape, now is the time that we're going to do our little magnetic closure. So I'm going to grab, I have 2 neodymium magnets. This measures 1/4 of an inch by 1/32 of an inch. I ordered these from totalelement.com, and I'm going to grab a glue dot and pick up the first of the 2 neodymium magnets, and I'm going to place that on the inside of the top flap. Okay, so this is the inside, kind of centered it there. It doesn't need to be perfect. Then I'm going to grab the other magnet, and I'm going to turn this over to the front and gently drop that magnet, and it's going to perfectly line up the proper positive and negative. So let me do that again. All right, so now I'm going to take another glue dot, place that on top of the magnet we added to the front, and then I've got this folded at the first score line. I'm going to fold this up from the second score line, so not the first but the second. That's going to square up our box, and we're going to pick up that magnet, and it's going to go right where we want it to go. All right, so that's going to be on the inside of the box. Both of them are on the inside, but you'll see that they're going to line up just where we need them to. Okay, and that piece of cardstock in between the magnets is really going to help diffuse some of the strength of those magnets, and that's what we want. All right, so now it's time to start putting together our box. So what I'm going to start with first is these 2 lower tabs. I'm going to remove the tear and tape backing. And these tabs are going to fold into the middle section. So we're going to line up this score line with this cut edge to square up our box there. Okay. Again, you want to make sure this tab is folding into the middle section or attaching to the middle section there. All right, so there's that. Next, what I want to do is go ahead and remove the tear and tape backing from the center section here, those little shorter pieces. And we're going to try to line up, fold that in, and line up the box like so. Okay. Basically this fold line with this score line, those are all matched up. Then finally, we can take off the tear and tape from the sides here. These are going to wrap around. And then we will fold those over. There we go. And if you happen to have any paper that overhangs, see I've got a little bit here, just take your paper snips and trim that off. Sometimes your cutting's a little bit off. All right, so that's the base of the box. Now what we're gonna do is these tabs are gonna fold into the top of the box, all right? So we'll remove the tape, the backing there. And again, we're going to square it up. So this score line with this cut edge and square up the box lid. All right, so now when we fold this down, I don't know if you could hear that magnet, but that's going to hold that box together for us. And you can kind of fold this back and forth to break in that little score line there. And there we have the basics of the card box. Now let me show you how many cards and envelopes it holds. Again, we've got 10 cards here. Forgive the Velcro on the back of these. That was for my display board. And then 10 envelopes. And those will fit perfectly in that gift box. This is a perfect thing to give to a hostess, to a dear friend with an assortment of cards. You just want to make sure that the note cards that you put in here don't have a ton of layering and embellishments. Otherwise, you won't be able to fit the full 10. But it is a great little gift box for gift cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next video. If you'd like all project measurements and details, I'll include a link to my detailed blog post in the description. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com, where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. I have options to subscribe to both my monthly newsletter as well as my daily blog updates, and I'd love to welcome you as a new subscriber. If you're in the US, you can shop Stampin' Up! Products with me at any time by going to thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in earning a discount on your purchases, I'd love to welcome you to my team of Paper Pixies, and you can purchase that $99 starter kit at thepaperpixie.com/join. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.